Alright guys, so this is the introductory presentation for geometry for Flip Classroom. This is my fourth semester doing the Flip, and so I am redoing all my videos because after doing this for 4 semesters, I've got some good feedback. My goal is to keep the videos shorter. Most of the videos went 15 minutes last year, and my goal is to keep these under 10. And there are points that I want you to do since this is something I'm getting you to do prior to instruction. I'm just going to have you make sure you get down the key points and be ready to talk about them the next day. Certainly if I, in a video, tell you to try something in the notes, then I expect you to try it. I also will be collecting, whether or not you completed the notes as part of your classwork grade. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. We're on day 1, points, lines, and planes of Geometry Unit 1. So we're going to go ahead and get these definitions down quickly, and we're going to move through this. If you need to pause it, go ahead and pause it so that you make sure you can get it down. So the first couple things we need, and this should pretty much be reviewed from like any middle school geometry you had, is that a point is a location in space. A line is made up of points and has no beginning or end. Points on the same line are called collinear points. I think that's actually with 2 L's. I'll have to check the spelling on that one for me. And so basically what that's saying is if I have a collection of points in a row, where those points all line up is a line. Now, you guys have been naming points and lines probably since you were younger. So to name a point, it's just one letter. So like if this is a point here, this is point P. And to name a line is 2 letters. And so if I were to pick 2 points on this line and name them A and B, then this is a line AB. So, a plane is a flat surface that is made of at least 3 distinct points. For our purposes, we're going to go with 4. And the way you name a plane is you just name the 4 points. And so, if this is my plane right here, and it's A, B, C, D, then I'm just going to call this plane A, B, C, D. Now, certainly you guys can, you can name it ABC, you can name it ADC, you can name it BCD, and so forth and so on. When you come into class tomorrow, and this video is going to be a little bit longer because I'm explaining how this is going to work. When you come into class tomorrow, the first thing we're going to do is review, like the first question I'm going to ask is, what's a point, what's a line, what's a plane? And then you're going to be expected to be able to use that discussion to answer these 6 questions. If you want to try to get them ahead of time, then, certainly that's fine. And like I said, this video is a little bit longer because I'm explaining how the change is going to work. I'm going to be expecting you guys to, be able to talk about this page and then us answer these questions. And I want to move through this part quickly. Okay. A couple other definitions, things that you should probably already know. A line segment can be measured because it has 2 endpoints. And so if this has an endpoint at A and an endpoint at B, then we can say that this is line segment AB, or we can say this is line segment BA. That's important. A line segment and a line can go either way. However, a ray cannot, because a ray has one endpoint and extends in one direction without end. It is part of a line. So when you name this ray, you can only name this ray EF or EG. But notice the consistency thing is that E has to come first because it's the endpoint going in the direction of F or G. Opposite rays are two rays that form a line. And so in this case, BA and BC are opposite rays. So just like we talked about earlier, again, we're going to pause. So tomorrow, after we finish going over the first section, I'm going to quickly review the second section. We're going to talk about line segments rays and opposite rays, and then I'm going to expect you to be able to answer these three questions, both with your partners and with me and as a group. Okay? Last part of the vocabulary. A postulate is basically a fancy word for rule. Something written that is true or valid. So there are three rules that we need to talk about on day one. Through any 2 points, there's exactly one line. That makes sense. If I put a point here and I put a point there, the only way to connect them, that's actually a line, is just a straight line. Our second rule is, if two lines intersect, then they intersect in exactly 1 point. And so if I draw a line this way, and I draw a line this way, they will only intersect one time. Right here. The only place they're going to intersect. One thing to keep your head on is the fact that if they didn't intersect, then they would be parallel lines. Okay? And then lastly, if two distinct planes intersect, then they intersect in exactly one line. And I'm just going to write that one down, and I'm going to talk about it in class in depth so that you guys can meet with me about this one, because I want to make sure that you guys fully understand this. This box right here is made of 6 planes, and I'll just go ahead and give you a little preview of it. But if I am looking at the top box, the top plane, and the plane on the right hand side, you can see that when I highlighted those 2 planes, they met at point D and point H. And so these 2 planes would intersect at line DH. We're going to go ahead and answer the 2 questions that are given here, and if you want to try them, go ahead. But again, we're going to get this in further detail in class. I definitely want to give you guys another opportunity to fully understand what I'm saying, is that, you know, when 2 planes intersect, they meet at a line. So, again, like I said, you know, the first time I did this course, flipped, this video was about 15 minutes, and I'm currently sitting at about 9. I'm going to go under 10. Only reason why I'm even getting that far is because I'm just explaining to you how I want this done. The important thing is that you guys have completed all of the vocabulary notes, and that you're just ready to talk about it tomorrow, or whatever day we do this in class. You're just ready to talk about it. If you've tried these, great. But certainly that's not an expectation until we've had a discussion and gone over this in class. In part 2, you know, again, I want you to have the information down. I want you to be able to talk about it. What does it mean? What is the change from what we talked about in the first section? And then we'll go ahead and make sure we do the examples. And then lastly, I want to be able to, again, talk about what is a postulate, why are these 3 postulates important, and how do we apply them to a cube. If you have any questions, just send me an email. And again, I hope you guys enjoy the change, so that we're not all focused on necessarily getting the work done, but we're more focused on the process.